Okay, folks, so this course was supposed to be, or this weekend was supposed to be Tibetan Heart Yoga 1, but since nobody showed up, we'll do practice together for today and tomorrow. So today we'll have 2.5 hour sessions from 9 to 11:30 and from 12:30 to 3. And the same tomorrow, and letting also people know who are watching the live stream in Facebook that today and tomorrow, I'm talking about UK time, so we'll have a stream in openheart.fi for the first hour, like from 9 to 10 a.m. UK time, and then I'll switch to, after 1 hour, I'll switch to Open Heart Sangha for guided Tibetan Heart Yoga practice that Jonathan and tomorrow Carl will guide. And then both afternoons from 12:30 to 3, I think I'm going to make the live stream entirely public at openheart.fi. So in the afternoons, we're going to practice Guru Yoga, do some chanting, kirtan, and just workshopping. I might give a talk also. Oh yeah, Matt was asking about the intention, attention, awareness thing. So I think we will dig into that this afternoon. So otherwise, this weekend will be live streamed at openheart.fi, except the Tibetan Heart Yoga sessions from 10 to 11:30 in the mornings. I always say when we begin the first hour that let's first sit for a couple of minutes and then after a few minutes chant the refuge and long body citta and these basic prayers. But then as we start sitting, I don't feel like doing those prayers anymore. So I asked you to take out these prayers now for the same purpose, but we'll see what will happen. So for the first hour today and tomorrow, we'll just do non-meditation Hatha Yoga practice, and I will give a little bit pointers. But as you guys who are here and I'm seeing the names who are, names of my Facebook friends who are logging in and watching this live stream. You already also, Open Heart Sangha practitioners, know what the practice is about, so I won't be talking all the time. If there is something like some unclarity, then I will say something. But otherwise, just practice for the first hour. I guess one of the most obvious pointers for non-meditation practice is that the body doesn't have to be immovable in a still posture. It can be useful to still the body and make the body sit upright, and then kind of try to make sense of all the elements that are there in the mind. Whatever they are, thoughts, emotions, subtle energy, it's easier to make sense of these things when your body is sitting still. But at the same time, I can personally admit that because I've done so much sitting and so much mindfulness practices over the years, that it has kind of grown a nasty habit of sitting, and actually a contradictory habit, so that and especially that mindfulness trait, that when I sit down, you kind of have a subtle sense of the subconscious drive of doing something, like applying mindfulness, attentiveness. Okay? So The point I'm making is that it doesn't really matter whether your body moves or is still. The basic space is the same. Simply being present with everything. Recognizing the basic space, knowingness, and just staying in the knowingness. If your mind goes out with attention, picks up a single sound or some sight that you hear or see, that's totally fine. Then you are already, when attention is drawn into one single thing, some object, then it's already, coming out from the basic knowing, which is absolutely fine. When that happens, be aware of that basic knowing at the basis of that sense perception. When you hear that fly buzzing around, there is hearing of that, hearing of the sound, and at the basis of that hearing there is knowing of that hearing. Also, if mentally you get distracted into thinking, planning, at the basis there is this basic knowing. So when you're following a, do you say train of thought? Become aware of knowing at the basis of the thinking, mental association, But do this in a way that you don't shut out the thought. You don't shut out or cut off that sense perception. You let that be also. Don't interrupt it. Is that clear? Do you understand what I mean? So you're not separating from anything. That's very, very important point. You're not, and we are not, in non-meditation practice, we are not meditating. So it's not a state, some state of quietude or some exalted, lofty state, just being present. If at any point you feel like adjusting or changing your posture, you can do that. If at any time you feel like moving, that's perfectly fine, because the natural state is the same, regardless of these external conditions. You can sit eyes open or eyes closed. Maybe I should also clarify a little bit with a few sentences about this knowing, that it's not deliberate knowing. This knowing is not something that you do. Another way to describe this knowing, well, the classic ones, cognizance, basic knowing, knowingness. Another way to describe it is to say that it's very intimate, being intimate with everything. You're not picking and choosing anything. You're not choosing the singing of the birds over, you're not choosing your mental quietude over the singing of the birds or any other thing. Being present, being intimate with everything. Without mental planning, mental elaboration, without concepts. Just being naked, plain, simple, carefree. And as I said, when you get distracted, and we all get distracted, become aware of that basic knowing at the basis of being distracted. This is non-meditation, bhavana, Dzogchen, Ati Yoga. yoga of the natural state. One recent Japanese Zen master had a phrase, opening the hand of thought. Like that. not leaving, excuse me, not leaving that knowing, staying perfectly present without effort. That's the best part of it. Doesn't require effort. And that's also, as I was mentioning, a great challenge, because we have these habits, tendencies that make us do something, make us try to get something or get somewhere. But anyway, being present without effort. It's also called, by the way, effortless mindfulness. Being mindful without effort at all, without any effort whatsoever. So, for the energies of the body and mind not to get somehow stale, let's do some movement a little bit. Lift your left hand and arm and bring it down. Up and down, up and down. On the mental level, there is no concentration, no concentrative effort. It's still the same, state of mind, even though it's not a state. How does it feel to move your arm in the natural state? When you bring the hand down, change for the right hand. And then when the hand comes down, leave it down. And then, still being present without effort, move your eyes. Look at different objects in this room. From the basic knowing. You can move your eyes slowly from one thing to another, or just quickly. It doesn't matter, the natural state is the same. Then you can let your head and eyes become still again. Not holding the head or eyes still, but just, releasing movement, stopping movement. Mind open from the head space, from the area of the head. Heart open from the chest space. That's a very important one. Heart open. The true heart, the real heart, which is awareness, compassion, has space for everything. If there is no preferal, picking and choosing between pleasant things and unpleasant things or circumstances or people or matters, then the heart is like literally a boundless space full of warmth. Aliveness, the word aliveness, I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, and it kind of seems a bit flat and used too much. Aliveness. Very, very alive. Brimming. Do you say brimming? Brimming with life. Like a big ant's nest in rainforest. That's better. Ants, because they... What do you call the movement of ants?
Crawling.
Crawling?
Mm.
Yeah. But that movement, that buzzing,
It's like vibrant.
Yeah, yeah. So aliveness sounds a bit too neutral, right? Not very personal, in a sense.
Not quite alive enough.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You can also switch eye positions, like gazing downwards, gazing horizontally forward, or gazing upwards. maybe we'll check that aliveness, that brimming a little bit. So feel into the aliveness of this basic space. First of all, check whether it's alive or whether it's dead. Dead would mean that, there's no sense of aliveness at all, like a completely dried flower or a tree, dead, or a corpse. No movement of energy, no aliveness. Check if that's the case or not with the natural state. John. And now feel more into the aliveness of the natural state. Really sensing it with your whole body, with your whole being. Kind of trying to get a clearer, better picture how this aliveness is. So this study, this pointer, makes it clear that this awake nature, awake awareness, Buddha nature, is very, very alive and joyful. It's life itself. It's not flat, it's not boring, it's not dead. That's how, if we think of Buddhism or Buddha Dharma, it can be very flat. If we only look at the pages of the sutras and texts, it can come across very flat. Then there's rules and regulations, what to do, what not to do. And these kind of things can squeeze that aliveness, that joyfulness, the energy out of the picture, right? But if we go to the natural state directly, brimming with life, very, very joyful. Very positive. In our teachings and also in the teachings of Tibetan Buddhism and Dzogchen, we speak of Kuntusangpo and Kuntusangmo, which literally means all good, all goodness, everything good. And Kuntusangpo, what it means the natural state. There is nothing more profound in any kind of Dharma teachings, Buddhist or otherwise. This is it. I will use an analogy as a pointer about this aliveness. So, back in the old days, and still in some art films, they use, black and white. When we watch Charlie Chaplin films or Buster Keaton, I think I always preferred Buster Keaton over Charlie Chaplin. But anyway, those are black and white films with only gray colors, right? There's black and white, and in between them a variety of gray shades. Do you say shades? So that's one kind of experience, I can't find the exact word.
Reality?
Yes, that's what I mean, one kind of reality. But if we look into this aliveness of the natural state, see what kind of gradation, what kind of coloring it has. Like, is it like an endless palette, an endless variety of colors? Like, if you use color as an analogy for this aliveness, I'm not talking about visualizing or imagining anything. I'm using the colors as an analogy, or black and white as an analogy. See if it has that endless variety of different colors, different shades. Does that aliveness have that feel to it? Or if it's just on the scale of black and white, grayscale, or just few different main colors. Figuratively speaking, yes, there is blue, there is red, there is green, there is yellow, there is white. And there's all the different colors, tones in between those main ones and around those main ones. Here we are already, like in Dzogchen teachings, there are two main phases of practice, which are cutting through, or trekcho, and togal, leaping over. Togal are rainbow body, light body practices. So here we are already kind of stepping towards light body Tagal practices. We don't have a Guru Rinpoche's rainbow body Tanka here. I should actually bring it here. I have one myself. I could bring it here to the center. But there are these depictions of Guru Rinpoche or other masters who have attained rainbow body, having like a rainbow colors in their body and outside their body in their energy field. And this can also be used as a visualization practice. And we also have these Tagal preliminary practices in open heart. It's been a while since in retreat we've done those practices, but maybe we'll do this weekend or next weekend. Anyway, I was just pointing out that this aliveness is actually, everything. Everything about aliveness, everything about life. Because life is about color, right? So we started from the first basic characteristic of the natural state, which is knowingness, cognizance. And then we touched in a little bit more detail aliveness, the second one, the energetic quality of it, and the third one is stability. That it's stable, without a ground, without a place, location, or a thing, it's stable. I recognize that stability a minute or two before chanting the basic prayers. And now, as we chant the 5 refuges and the long body citta, notice, because it brings in the blessings of the refuge, and compassion, especially with bodhicitta. See what changes in your experience, what changes in your energy field. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. So the refuge brings in your own Buddha nature and the blessings of the Guru and blessings of his pure land. See what is the change in your body, mind, heart, energy. You can check it, eyes closed, eyes open. Noticing this change gives you a sense how much more there is to go in the practice. Okay, let's continue to the long body citta. Prayer of supreme enlightenment for the sake of all beings. Sincerely I bow down to the Guru and all Buddhas in all directions. my heart I seek the blessings of the Buddhas of perfect love, kindness, compassion, and wisdom. Kindly let your gaze rest upon me. Keep me close and never let me go astray. I know the pain and confusion caused by myself to myself. Therefore, my sincere wish is to learn the Dharma, practice the Dharma, and realize the Dharma for the sake of all beings. May the winds blow smoothly to allow me to actualize this prayer. Have the basic necessities of good health, food, and shelter. For this kindness I bow to the Buddhas in directions with the constant blessings of the Guru. I strive to attain the supreme enlightenment in this body and mind for the sake of all beings lost in samsara. May all beings be free of suffering and learn the Dharma to free themselves. Take refuge in the Guru, his pure land, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I offer my body, speech, and mind, present and future, to the refuge, and pray for the liberation of all beings. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. Again, notice the difference. See the change. How's the color scale now? How's the stability now? By taking refuge and generating or actualizing bodhicitta, did it fortify our sense of entityness? Or did it fortify, reveal the selfless basic space, Buddha nature? Now if you open your eyes and look around from that space, from that heart, bring your palms together. You know, there's a lot of bowing in Buddhism, right? I was just thinking about this yesterday. There was somebody in the Sangha. I was asking people to give me suggestions or on what to speak about emptiness and Dharma in general, and I came to think of different practices. And like bowing is a like really universal Buddhist practice. All Buddhists bow a lot. And actually, my understanding of bowing is that if you really make a bow, it means that what happens when this is sincerely done. Sincerely, with open mind, not with having any plans or how do you say, like shadow thoughts, like hidden motivations.
Ulterior motive.
Ulterior motivations. Motives or motivations?
Motives.
That's if it's properly done, you get to the natural state like that. I think it's really important distinction to make that we can get very habituated. Is that the word?
Yeah.
With bowing, with other things, and take them for granted and miss the pointer, miss the effect. So it's better to do one bow and get it than do 100 or 1,000 and not get it. Obviously. I'm going to, probably not this weekend, but next weekend at the city retreat, I've prepared a talk about emptiness, what it is, and how it works, and how do we know if we understand it or not. So I will speak about more of this in that talk next weekend. Let's take a 10-minute break and continue 10:15 in 10 minutes with Tibetan Heart Yoga at Open Heart Sangha. And continuing the live stream, as I said in the beginning, at openheart.fi group at 12:30 UK time. Thanks for all watching. There's many of you there. Cheers.